Good morning. I would like to welcome everyone to today's Board of Curators meeting, including those joining us on the live stream. As a courtesy, I ask everyone to speak directly into the microphone and ensure everyone can hear. Valerie, please call the roll to determine if a quorum is present.
Curator Blitz.
Yes.
Curator Fry.
Here.
Curator Graves.
Here.
Curator Cruson.
Here.
Curator Lehman.
Here.
Curator Luchtemeier.
Here.
Curator Rains.
Here.
Curator Singfield.
Here.
Curator Williams.
Here.
You have all members present.
All right, we have a quorum. I now ask that everyone rise and join Curator Fry in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Veterans, please feel free to salute as we say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on the agenda is the chair's report. Once again, I'd like to thank Chancellor Delgani for hosting us today at Missouri S&T. And thank you to the president, the chancellors, and universities for joining us in Rolla. This morning, I have the honor of introducing Missouri S&T's Remington R. Williams Award recipient. Remington, our late student representative of the board, was a leader who empowered students across all 4 universities, and he was an outstanding representative for us. Each award recipient exemplifies the qualities that we all admired about Remington and prompted the creation of this award. The Board of Curators is honored to recognize this year's Missouri S&T Remington R. Williams Award recipient, Caitlin Dunahee. Caitlin, please come to the front. Ms. Dunahee is passionate about mentorship and building a strong sense of community for all students. She serves on the Cummer Vanguard Scholar Steering Committee as well as Student Council as a Christian Campus Fellowship representative. Her leadership is evident through her experiences serving in student residential governance, leading study groups, and offering academic support as a peer learning assistant. She plans to graduate in the fall of 2026 with a bachelor's in civil engineering. Congratulations, Caitlin. Next, I'd like to recognize Missouri S&T's 2025-26 Curators Distinguished Professors. This distinction is the highest honor the board awards to our faculty. It is reserved for exceptional professors with a national or international reputation for outstanding scholarship or teaching in their respective fields. Today, we welcome 3 S&T faculty into this prestigious group. Once I've said your name, please come forward for a photo and stay for a final group photo. Our first honoree, Dr. Darrell Beatner from the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, is unable to join us today, but we are pleased to recognize his exceptional contributions. Dr. Beatner is a global leader in the field of electromagnetic compatibility, including unintended electromagnetic emissions, electrostatic discharge, and more. His research outside of these areas is pioneering as well and involves the detection and evaluation of skin cancer. In addition to the detection, location, and neutralization of improvised exploding devices and landmines. That's a very diverse field of interest, skin cancer to landmines. He is the director of both the S&T Electromagnetic Compatibility Laboratory, which is the world's largest university-based research laboratory at EMC, and the Center for Electromagnetic Compatibility, a National Science Foundation Cooperative Research Center. Our second honoree is Dr. Frank Leo from the Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Dr. Leo is a world-leading researcher in the areas of digital materials and hybrid additive and subtractive manufacturing. His work has opened new frontiers in digital materials design, paving the way for the next generation manufacturing innovations. He transforms research into commercial industry impact with engineering prototypes and industrial solutions. Dr. Leo? Just a second. Our final honoree is Dr. Christy Lukes from the Linda and Bipin Doshi Department of Chemical and Biochemical Engineering. Dr. Lukes is a renowned educator prioritizing student-centered approach to promote long-term learning and career readiness. In addition to students, she guides junior faculty and plays a critical role in faculty development, serving as a minor master mentor and a key member of the Center for Advancing Faculty Excellence Steering Committee. During the pandemic, she spearheaded the American Institute of Chemical Engineers Virtual Communities of Practice, helping faculty worldwide transition design and lab courses to virtual formats. This initiative benefited over 100 institutions across 9 countries. Congratulations, Dr. Lukes. Do you want us over in front?
Sure, yeah, if you just maybe take the flags there. Nice and close, that'd be great.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations. It's been great, once again, visiting Missouri and S&T over the past couple of days and seeing all the exciting advancements taking place on campus. S&T is a phenomenal university that consistently ranks as one of the top STEM institutions in the country. Last year, the Princeton Review ranked it the 3rd best public university for career placement and 5th for internships among the nation's top public universities. Our students come to S&T because they see an institution that dedicates world-renowned STEM faculty and resources for their success in the classroom and their future careers. It's an exceptional university for the next generation of leaders who will guide us in the future of technology and engineering. Each of our universities brings distinct strengths to advance the system's mission and vision. I think that makes receiving an education at one of our institutions one of the best you can earn in the world. I want to touch briefly on a few exciting projects happening at S&T, which I'm sure Chancellor Delgani will mention in more depth. Yesterday, we dedicated the new Missouri Protoplex building. This outstanding project will directly improve workforce and economic development for the area and the state through providing resources and skills to manufacturers. And I remember a year or two ago when Chancellor Delgani, when I came to Raleigh, he drove me through the area, and it was just basically a torn up dirt field, and he was telling me where everything was going to be. He saw it just like it looks today before they broke ground. It's always fulfilling to see an initiative come to fruition, especially one that stands so immediately in line for our mission, advancing opportunities for the success and well-being of Missouri. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, we're not a university in Missouri, we're the University of Missouri. This board is thrilled to see the momentum on the Bioplex project that broke ground a year ago this month, which is just out here in front, basically. It's the largest capital project in S&T's history, and the new building will provide critical space for research teams, faculty, staff, and students to solve critical challenges in life sciences. Can't wait to see the progress of that over the next couple of years. And another exciting initiative is the new Physician Engineer Pre-Admission Program, a place where it's clear that our universities can work together. This program is a collaboration between Missouri S&T and Mizzou that supports undergraduate students at S&T's College of Engineering and Computing, as well as Mizzou's College of Engineering, who wish to pursue careers in medicine. Students apply for the program during the 2nd semester of their sophomore year and receive preliminary acceptance to the University of Missouri School of Medicine. The first cohort starts this fall, and it will be exciting to watch their success. Our students at all 4 universities continue to impress here in Missouri, but also in the U.S. and the world. S&T's Petro Bowl team won the 2026 Society of Petroleum Engineers North American Student Symposium Petro Bowl Championship in late February. The team answered technical and non-technical questions related to the petroleum industry and engineering. UMC student Emily Shoemake was selected for an internship with the first Interstate Bank Smithsonian Institute program this summer in Washington, D.C. The program selected one student from Missouri, as well as students from 9 other states in the First Interstate Bank footprint, primarily in rural communities. UMSL's John Lutter, a fourth-year optometry student, received the 2026 Dr. Frank D. Fontana Memorial Scholarship from VSP Global and the Heart of America Eye Care Congress. He received the scholarship for exemplifying excellence in outstanding clinical performance, empathetic patient care, embracing modern technologies, and active involvement in the optometric community. And the Mizzou chess team, a project very near and dear to Curator Singfield, won the 2026 U.S. Chess Federation's President's Cup, which is the National Collegiate Championship. The weekend was also historic because for the first time in history, Mizzou hosted the games, including the inaugural Women's Cup Championship. So congratulations to all on that and to all of those achievements. The MU School of Medicine and the UMKC School of Medicine recently celebrated Match Day. I've heard Dr. Barron say that's the happiest day of the year on campus, where students find out where they will continue their journey in residency. This year, Mizzou's class had a remarkable match rate of 99.2%, and UMKC had a tremendous rate of 97.4%. And those rates far surpassed the national match rate of 93%. It is also important to note that 42% of Mizzou's class chose to remain in Missouri, as did 31.3% of UMKC students. In addition, 22 students in Mizzou's 2026 class were assigned to MU's Springfield Clinical Campus for their last 2 years, and we'll be hearing more about that over coming meetings, the developments on that campus. They've been assisting Missourians in rural locations with 90% of Missouri counties lacking doctors. These students have made a transformative difference in these 2 years. Recently, President Choi and I visited Cape Town, South Africa, and Johannesburg, South Africa, and several other places in South Africa, where we celebrated the 40th anniversary of the University of Missouri South African Education Program with our partners at the University of Western Cape, and also attending were our partners, and you see some of them in the slide, from Ghent University in Belgium. This program and partnership is truly exceptional and has aged very well. When we started the program, we hoped it would have a resounding impact for students and faculty, but 40 years ago, we didn't know how successful the program would become. And frankly, I think many would admit we didn't know how successful the University of Western Cape would become, because they're doing very, very well. With over 1,000 faculty and hundreds of students participating in the program and its exchanges, this is one of our most valued partnerships for its collaboration and shared impact. And one of the things that's neat about the partnership, it crosses all 4 of our universities. There was a faculty member there at the celebration from UMSL. They talked of collaborations they've done with UMKC and they've done with S&T. So it's something that stretches across the entire university footprint and I think it's a real feather in our cap. Our momentum continues toward the construction on the next-gen MER project. Last month, we entered into a consulting agreement with Burns & McDonnell to provide project controls, engineering oversight, and other support for next-gen MER. They will also assist in reviewing the design and licensing deliverables from the next-gen MER consortium. We're thrilled to work with Burns & McDonnell on this project that will save lives in Missouri and around the world. And this continues to be a focus of the board, the next-gen MER project and the administration. And we try to put a brick in the wall every few days when we can. I also want to reiterate the board's thanks to the Missouri legislature for the continued support of our initiatives. Governor Kehoe and Missouri legislators understand the importance of our land grant mission and the opportunities granted all citizens through the system initiatives and projects. Last month, students from all 4 universities visited the Capitol in Jefferson City for Undergraduate Research Day and discussed their research projects with our legislators and other attendees. I think it's exciting and vital for our state leaders to see the work carried out by our students, as they are the heartbeat of what we do and the next generation of leaders and thinkers. We deeply value our partnership and look forward to continuing to work together to benefit and strengthen every Missouri community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Graves. It's always great to be back at the campus here in Rolla and to see the incredible progress each year. So many thanks to Chancellor Degani. I'll begin with student success. Chair Graves talked about the incredible support from Curator Singfield and Mr. Rex Singfield for our chess team. And the number of grandmasters on our campus has just skyrocketed over the past few years. We also have from UMKC two students that received the U.S. State Department's very important critical languages program, where they get to travel to countries to learn the language and the culture and bring that important capability back to the United States. We have two athletes that I want to celebrate. First is Justice Beard, who is a junior from Paducah, Kentucky, and she's an honor student, but also a three-time NCAA D2 winner for swimming and diving at the national championships. The athlete from Owen Fraser, I want him to stand up to see how tall he is. He's 6'8", 311 pounds, and he used to play football. I think he's got 2 years of eligibility left, so Coach Shrink may call you after you graduate. But he is a senior from Kirksville, Missouri, who's also a 4.0 student. And he does the hammer throw, the shot put, and the discus. And here's him doing something a little bit dangerous, a flying hammer throw. But Owen, congratulations. Congratulations. Our faculty members are being recognized by national organizations for their research excellence, and AAAS is one of the highest distinctions awarded by this organization for scientists and engineers. And there are 3 faculty members from Mizzou and a faculty member from Missouri S&T, Dr. Melanie Mormile. Dr. Mormile, congratulations. Congratulations. Well done. And faculty success, Professor Noah Herringman received the highly prestigious, this award is very important for AAU, NEH Fellowship, and this is his second NEH Fellowship. He'll be studying in Germany to investigate and study the work of an important art historian, Joachim Winkelmann. At UMKC, Dr. Timothy Cox, who was a oral surgeon, received the Bixler Award from this society called the Craniofacial Genetics and Biology program, which is one of the highest awards given by that organization. And Dr. Marius Bobach, who was recently hired as the Dean of the College of Education, was selected as winner of one of the 6 big ideas for education, to transform education. And Dr. Shelley Montier, I do not believe she is here, but she was recruited a few years ago from NSF. She received the Science and Technology Center Award, a $20 million NSF project, and was awarded the Galvani Medal for electrochemistry. Prior winners of this medal have gone on to win the Nobel Prize. So let's give her a big round of applause as well. Here are our application numbers, and you could see the last column shows the percentage increase from prior year. But what I would like to also ask you to look at is the growth since 2021. Significant growth since 2021 for all 4 of our universities. At S&T, in speaking with Chancellor Degani, he mentioned that there has been a drop-off in international students at S&T, and also unexpected drop-off in computer science. And that may be due to Well, let me ask Chancellor Degani to explain.
Thank you, President Choi. Yes, we've seen 94% of all those declines are really in three areas. International students, we're very heavy in international students, and we've had significant drop in international students. And then computer science and computer engineering. Those three areas account for all of this. Despite the fact that we've seen growth in other areas, those three areas have hurt us.
Thank you. And so here are the numbers for acceptances. Once again, if we can look back over the past 5 years and see the growth in all of our programs. The S&T numbers, as you heard from the Chancellor, is due to the softness in computer science and international. At Mizzou, that number will converge to last year's number and even trend a little bit higher, because when we look at deposits as well as confirmations or summer welcome, we are trending ahead by a few percentage points. This graph shows in black what was the administration's request for funding for these very important federal agencies that support research at universities. What you see in the purple is what was actually voted on and approved into law by Congress. So for NIH, the president requested a $28 billion support last year, but Congress came in and approved 47.2, which is great news. But this year, the president requested 41 billion, which is less than what we got last year. And you can see the trends. The most concerning is at NSF, where the administration has requested $4.8 billion lower than in the current year. And so we're hoping that we can speak to the members of our Congress and really demonstrate the importance of this type of research for national security, workforce development, and staying at the forefront of important scientific arenas. What we also see when we compare the number of awards from NIH that has been provided since the beginning of the fiscal year, which starts on October 1st for the federal government, we are about 1/3 of what typically is awarded at this time. So by the end of February, there were about 1,000 awards that have been released, but traditionally, we've had about 3,000 awards. So our message to the faculty is continue to write the proposals, write the best proposals that you can, and to wait, contact your program manager, but also be patient with the review process. Our research, though, is staying strong based on expenditures. This is the most important number that the federal government tracks for our research. The growth over the past year at Mizzou is not significant, but it is not declining. So our hope is to continue to expend the funds that we have, write the proposals, get the awards, and continue the important work. Here are a few research projects of note. This is a project by Professor Ronald O'Malley from the U.S. Department of Energy to move away from using blast furnaces, but instead using, I believe, what is induction furnaces to use electricity, which leads to a more efficient and a more refined way of manufacturing steel. And is Professor O'Malley here? He is not here. At Mizzou, Professor Betsy Baker and her colleagues are developing really evidence-based approach to improve literacy. And this is something that really impacts Missouri. Recent testing in 2024 showed that 74% of 8th graders are reading below proficient levels. COVID didn't help, but we have some work to do, and this innovative project will take this matter head on. At Mizzou, Professor Eiling Lin received a $3.4 million grant to develop a better understanding of the gut biome and its effect on neurodegeneration. So the link between your gut and Alzheimer's. And there are over 11% of all Missourian adults suffer from Alzheimer's disease. Dr. Wenjun Ma is a professor in veterinary medicine, and he received a $2 million grant from Department of Agriculture to study ways to provide vaccines for avian flu. Avian flu last year resulted in the destroying of over 4 million chickens just in Newton County alone last year. So this has a tremendous economic impact to Missouri and the rest of the country. Professor Rosanna Zia, who we recruited to the University of Missouri from Stanford, received a DARPA grant to use what is basically an engineering approach to biology and to be able to use that to develop new therapeutics and new diagnostics. At UMSO's main focus on geospatial has been on the research and workforce training. They received a $4 million grant through NGA, working with partners at T-Rex, and this supports the NGA West activities, which serves as the second most important center of excellence for geospatial research and education in the United States, and it's right in St. Louis. Last but not least, a $4 million grant from the NIH for UMKC to better understand how diabetes affects Missourians. More than 600,000 adults in Missouri suffer from diabetes, and to have educational programs to reduce the prevalence of diabetes in the community. In terms of philanthropy, all 4 universities are doing very well. I believe that we will meet or exceed the goals that are outlined for all 4 universities. And I want to thank the hard work for all of the vice chancellors for advancement, but also the chancellors and the senior leaders that are closing the important gifts that support our mission as a university. I want to take this opportunity to thank Chancellor Sobolik, who I knew as a colleague since May of 2017. And after many years of service to UMSO, she has decided that it's time for her to spend more time with her aging parents and the growing number of grandchildren. And we are going to miss her. She transformed the University of Missouri St. Louis, and it's going to be a tough act to follow, but we're going to try our best to find a replacement. Chancellor Sobolik, congratulations, and let me ask if you would like to share a few words.
Thank you. It has truly been my life's honor to serve as the Chancellor of the University of Missouri St. Louis and to be a part of this system. It's also been wonderful to serve under President Choi for the whole time that I've been here, first starting as Provost of the university, and now as the system, as Chancellor, and to see how the system has grown, how the university has grown, and I am so honored and privileged. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for your service to the state of Missouri, and onward.
Thank you. There will be a special celebration at UMSO in May, and I would like to ask all of you to join us for that special celebration. As we say goodbye to Chancellor Sobolik, we also want to welcome new members to the team. And just looking at this group, I believe we have Professor Kate Drown. Is she here, Kate? Nope, she is not here. Okay, but we have Jody Mittori, who used to be at the University of Missouri, went to WashU, and came back as the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer. So Jody, congratulations. We look forward to working with you. Curator Graves, that concludes my presentation. Are there any questions from the board?
Any questions? Thank you, President Choi. Next, we have the approval of the 2027 Board of Curators meeting calendar. May I have a motion and a second to approve? Moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the meeting calendar. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, Motion carries. Now we have the consent agenda. Are there any questions or discussions on the consent agenda items? If there are no questions, may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll now move into the Finance Committee portion of the agenda. Curator Cruzen, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Graves. Good morning. The Finance Committee has 2 information items and 2 action items here today. First item, which is...
Can I stop you before we
sure
get into
can.
committee work? We have very rudely, and I'm, sometimes I just read the teleprompter and.
Not we.
Huh? Yeah, I have very rudely, well, Bob, it's the corporate we, overlooked Chancellor Delgani's presentation. So rather than get in the Finance Committee, let's go ahead and move to that at this point.
Perfect.
Thank you, Chair Grave. I thought, that was a hint to me to move things faster, so. With that, I want to welcome every member of the board here. Thank you for being here. We are grateful for all of your support, but we have a humble request. Please stop bringing these tornadoes to Rolla every year, year after year. So with that, I'd like to start my presentation with showing a video honoring our students to begin with. Terrific bunch of students. A brand new campus, if you will. So I'd like to talk about our North Star goals and provide an update on that, as well as financial strength and our attempt to plan for success. Our North Star goals, as you know, is grow enrollment, achieve national recognition, and attain the research R1 category of Carnegie classification. So I start with the enrollment. This slide is to provide context. As you can see, in the last 6 years or so, UM system has grown 8.3% in total enrollment, and the 2-year public community colleges in this state have grown by about 1%. And then the other public 4-year universities have declined by 7.4%. And the private universities a whopping nearly 12% decline in enrollment. And with that, this is our overall enrollment this year's anomaly notwithstanding for our first-time college, but overall you can see the growth in the last 5 years for our enrollment. Much of it due to improved retention, increased transfer enrollment, more students staying on track to graduate, and so on. Another attempt for us is to modernize, if you will, our curricula. And we have 13 new programs, thank you for your approval, of at the bachelor's, master's, and doctoral programs. Notice the emphasis on biotechnology, bioengineering, biomaterials, as well as semiconductor engineering, which is a catch for us. That program was encouraged by one of our alums who's the CEO of semiconductor manufacturing company. He gave us $10 million to start a new program in semiconductor, and we were the first in the country to start that program. And after we did it, multiple other universities have started their programs as well. In addition to that, and also to diversify beyond bio and biotechnology, is really the generous donation by one of our alums, Janet and Dennis Jagey, $12.5 million to establish our version of business school. So every program in the new school, Jagey School of Business, is going to be heavily NI enforced and enhanced programs for accounting, finance, business, and every area in there. We have 3 searches ongoing for endowed professors. Some of them are going to be chairing the department. Some of them are going to be research faculty. And as you notice on that bullet, there's $2.5 million of scholarships available to students in that program. Again, a very generous donation from an alum who was a mechanical engineer, but he said he wished he knew more about business when he graduated from the university here. And that's the attempt here. Also, one major initiative here, thanks to the effort of our provost, Dr. John Harris, who's in the audience here. John is sitting in the front row. We are perpetuating AI across every curriculum on the campus here. So every graduate of S&T will be AI conversant when they graduate. They will know how to work with AI. They're well familiar with it. They will know how to use AI to do a better job at whatever program they're in. Again, it's all across the campus. Also notice the third bullet, operations. We are going to engage AI within our own operations on campus as well. And the last is a degree program that Provost Harris is starting, a program in AI engineering. And of course, you know that 80% plus of that program is going to be the computer science. Noticing the significant decline, it was only 2 years ago where we couldn't. Our computer science was the largest pool of applications. And all of a sudden, the bottom fell off, if you noticed here. And so we are trying to repackage our programs because everybody is driven towards AI. So we are going to offer those programs as well. Now, this is a slide highlighting our continuum of enrollment and retention programs within the university. You'll notice that on the left-hand side, there is our K through 12 outreach, where we have a robust summer camp program here. We've had those for decades on campus, and it's increasing. If I showed you the numbers, it's quite impressive how the participants in our summer camps grow. And here is the data for you. Out of every 4 students that come to our summer camps, 1 becomes a freshman here. And how many more will become, STEM students in other campuses as well. We have school visits. On any given day, you can see a lot of kids, K through 12 kids on campus. We've had nearly 20,000 students visit the campus in 1 year. And then for those who cannot come to campus, we have the STEM mobiles that will go to counties and to schools and highlight the importance of STEM education. We have a momentum program for those who have been admitted here, but we think based on predictive models that they will need help in order to maintain their status here on campus. So these are courses that we offer online, and then there's summer jump start courses that those who need a little bit of help to be able to enroll in our courses when they come here in the fall. This is a rigorous place, and we are trying to have support programs commensurate with the level of rigor that our programs offer here. And then there is the retention, thanks to a huge effort by our Vice Chancellor for Student Success, Robin Gore, and I think Robin is sitting here. Robin is in the room. Thank you for everything that you do, Robin. Notice in the retention, they have 4 categories of students, from the brightest group on the top to those on the bottom that we call the cornerstone students. We try to help them along through multiple programs and individual mentorship and peer tutoring and a whole host of other activities to make sure that they get there. We have a program here called Fifth Week Flag, that every faculty member reports to students that are not doing well by the 5th week of the semester. And then the machinery goes to work to identify those who need help to bring themselves up. And that has been a very successful program. Again, thanks to the effort of our student success team here on campus. And then finally, for job placement, you can see a lot of effort in there. Our graduates don't suffer from a lack of jobs. In fact, they get multiple job offers, and their challenge is which one to take. So that is the whole continuum of our effort in order to support our students. The second is the national recognition, second of our North Star goals. And President Choi highlighted some of them. The video, the slideshow highlighted some of it. But Wall Street Journal, for example, this year in 2026, moved us up 1 point from being number 9 in the nation last year to being number 8 in the nation as for the starting salary as well as the return on investment. And then you see New York Times and Princeton Review and Money Magazine and a whole host of others. Here is a picture of where we are in the national scene. We are number 8. Look at the last column where our score is 95.9%. A solid A+. But my beef with this slide is that University of Pennsylvania, which is right above us, they also scored 95.9. So I want to recount. I want to know how did that happen. But this is really a remarkable achievement for our students on campus. Putting it in the state perspective, you notice that we are number 8 in the nation, but we are number 1 in the state of Missouri. Highest starting salary, mid-career salary, as well as the return on investment, a whole host of other parameters that go in there. Notice that the second highest one in the state of Missouri is number 40 in the nation, and that's Washington University. And I always say, well, they stand that number because their tuition is about 7 times ours, and their endowment is about 30 times ours. So, but I think this is terrific for our students to be ranked where they are in here. Here are our leaders in the making. One of them we talked about, Owen Fraser, a giant, both in his stature as well as in intellect. As President Choi mentioned, he's a 4.0 student. You know, I have a morning walking route that every time I see him in his practice area, I make sure that I do a detour because he's got these heavy discs that he throws around, and I don't want to get hit with it. And Owen is here. Owen, would you please tell us what you eat for breakfast?
Yeah, this morning I had 9 scrambled eggs, 10 ounces of Greek yogurt, and a nice tall glass of chocolate milk.
Ah, all right. Thank you, Owen. Congratulations to you. You know, he just described what I eat for a whole week. But, and then, of course, there is Avery Lyons. Avery, are you in here as well? Yeah, please stand up. And Jacob Ortega. Is Jacob in here? No, I don't see him here. And then Chase Stem. Are you, Chase, are you here? No. So Chase is the team leader for our world champion Mars rover. Many of you know about it. Avery, you can sit down. Congratulations to you. Thank you. And then Jacob Ortega, NASA Research Opportunity Award winner. And Avery, of course, is the second place in International Ballistic Symposium, where she manufactured the device that won the award. As far as our faculty, President Choi mentioned Shelley Mintier, Kwame. None of them, of the two, are here today. They're doing other things. And Kwame is the PI for our critical minerals, large $60 million proposal that we are anxiously awaiting to hear the result of that. And then President Choi mentioned Shelley Mintier winning the Meldoni Award in Italy. And she was the very first woman in the history of that award to win the award. And again, as President Choi mentioned, past winners of that award have gone on to win the Nobel Prize. So stay tuned. We have better news on Shelley for you then. I know Dr. Anthony Convertine is here, a pioneer in cancer detection research, and Dr. Genda Chen, Director of Center for Intelligence Infrastructure. Dr. Chen was doing robotic inspection of structures before robots were cool and drones were cool. So I think they're both in here, Genda, and congratulations. Thank you for being here. And finally, our Carnegie R1 category. Frankly, we celebrated that for about a day and a half, simply because our research, we all along knew that our research was of R1 category. But the recognition was appreciated, and as I said, it was celebrated and here. It has to do with the quality, quantity of research and the number of PhD students. And it's really a reflection of the caliber of our faculty. If you look at this slide, it speaks about the quality of our faculty here. And this is really remarkable. Stanford University every year publishes a list of top 2% scientists in the world. And we have about 400 tenure track and research-minded faculty members. So our 2% would be 8. And these are the numbers of our faculty members that are on that list. Almost an order of magnitude higher than our normal 2%. So 60 and 74, one is a career number of our faculty, and then the other one is for that 1 year only. So for the year 2024, we had 60 of our faculty members on the Stanford top 2% list of faculty. And look at the growth of that annual number from 2020 and 2021 to 2023 and 2024. So congratulations to our faculty who are doing a remarkable job. And as a result, this is the data. President Choi showed our research expenditure. This is the trend. And 1 more year of this growth is going to happen before there will be a decline because of the fewer of the awards, national awards that have been coming. And we are really concerned about that. But that number for next year will go into the 80s. But then after that, there will be a decline. Now, here's another picture of what we do in way of research. You've heard us talk about plexus. The whole idea of plexus is bring engineering in combination with other activities, so we will establish centers of excellence. We have a lot of these areas in sort of distributed manner across our colleges, our programs, or, for example, we have a lot of bio that's in chemistry, that is in biochemical engineering, that all across the campus in materials, for example. And the whole idea of Plexes is to integrate an algebraic sum and have a focus on those areas so we can attract world-class faculty like the ones that you saw, and of course the students and PhD students and so on. So you saw the Protoplex, which is at the intersection of engineering and manufacturing. Bioplex is in the building phase, and that is at the intersection of engineering and medicine. And Powerplex, engineering and energy, and that we are in the planning stage of that, and I will have a presentation later on to give on that. And then we are at the vision state for the Geoplex. Notice that every one of these centers of excellence have engineering as their common denominator. That's what the thread is. There is another short video that if you would watch, please.
Tomorrow is wide open. Cures from unexpected places. Waste transformed into critical minerals. We see possibilities. Not someday, not maybe. We are already in motion. In drones inspecting bridges before failure. Glass powder that helps the body repair itself. Simple, yet extraordinary. In vacuum chambers that test satellites before they leave Earth. In supersonic wind tunnels, where air races at Mach 3. That's 2,300 miles per hour. In tornado simulators that shape how we build, so communities can stand strong when storms hit. We see possibilities in blood vessels printed from biology and code, and organs grown on chips that heal. If this sounds like science fiction, good. That means we're doing it right. Because the world's greatest challenges aren't waiting for someone else to solve them. They're waiting for us. We don't see what is. We see what could be. We're not imagining tomorrow. We are solving for tomorrow.
Okay. And then Alicia tells me that our composite financial index, that light green line in the midst of the bars, says that we have a clean bill of health when it comes to our finances. And then the sustained growth in net position. This is how much the campus is worth, and that is increasing as years go by. So I think financially we are doing well, and thanks again to all the support that we've received from the system. We have a $1 billion campaign. We are in the silent phase of that. We are 2 years into it, started in fiscal year 2024, and in 2 years we have achieved a quarter of the way there, and I am confident that we will get there. That's a decadal goal for us, and it's based on the 4 principles that you see on the right. We have a terrific group of alums who are now actually more than ever beginning to believe in the mission of this university. They always did, but they are very much encouraged with what's happening on campus. Last week here, we had the Board of Trustees and the Comer Board members here on campus, a group of 40 people, and we did a 2-year gig with them, and they were very impressed, and I think that's going to energize our effort in our campaign. So the announcement, the public launch will be in 2027, and we are encouraged by the progress that we've made. This is a show of all of the elements of our strategic plan. I will not talk about this. I want you to know that we have a robust monitoring element with responsible individuals and accountable individuals for every one of these areas where we keep track of the progress on all the elements of enrollment, student success, research, advancement, and everything else that is there. So with that, this is a picture of our beautiful campus, and I will have more to say just later on this morning about our planning for the next 5 years, where the growth is going to be on campus. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you, Chancellor. Very good. All right, Curator Cruson, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Graves. Good morning. The Finance Committee has 2 information items this morning and 2 action items. The first information item is fiscal year 2027 budget update. Executive Vice President of Finance and Operations, Ryan Rapp, will present the update to the fiscal year 27 system budget. Ryan?
Thank you, Curator Cruson. Today, I really just want to go over and highlight some of the key assumptions and drivers that we're contemplating as we prepare our budget to present to the board for approval in June, and then also go over some of the continuous improvement initiatives we've had as it relates to our administrative costs, and then we'll talk about the next steps. You know, as we think about the budget outlook, you heard some of that from Chancellor Degani in his slides. We do remain well positioned. You know, I think we're counting on steady enrollment, continuing to be proactive and responding to challenges that we see. And then healthcare performance, while it was discussed at length that the Health Affairs Committee has been below budget, they do have action plans underway to improve that performance. Some of the risks that we are thinking about and considering is not really through this current budget cycle, but beyond, that there's going to be some pressure on the state budget. You've heard both the Chancellor and the President talk about shrinking federal research budgets. And then just, I think, you know, we probably always talk about this just when we might encounter broader economic headwinds. I will touch on the next slide. Moody's did revise their higher education sector scorecard to kind of reflect this, and I'll go over that with you. The one thing I want to highlight too is some of the changes and cost management initiatives we took in FY26 and provided us with some flexibility as we go into the FY27 budget. You commonly hear me reference that kind of the floor for our Moody's cash flow margin is 10%, and then this is the rating band by their scorecard, and there's more details in your material, but Moody's didn't change our score specifically. They made a sector change, which moved us from having a AA rating on one of their metrics as it relates to their kind of fiscal environment. So everyone moved to single A, which moved us down in the band. It's not going to have any immediate impact on our credit rating. I want to be clear, they have the ability to rate us one level above or one level below. We've been outside of this band in our history before. I think it's just more indicative of their broader outlook on higher education. So nothing changed in our financials or what we were doing. But just wanted to note that I've presented this to the board before, and again, being a lower number is better here. So it'll put some pressure over the long term, but they update their outlook from time to time as well, and that could change. The next chart is really just wanting to think about reminding you all of while we have a $5.3 billion budget. Much of that is allocated, and so commonly when we're thinking about doing something new or different, it really is on that margin. And I just wanted to remind, like our green bucket is, as you can see, it's smaller than healthcare and our other auxiliary services combined. But that green bucket is our least externally constrained. It's where our net tuition and fees are collected. It's where our state appropriations are, and then it's where we really deliver on the teaching and public service part of our mission, as well as our academic support and overhead. And then as you move into those yellow buckets, those are more of your business-like enterprises, the largest clearly being healthcare at $2.5 billion. And then The far right, while our gift and grant funding is very important, all of those come with very specific restrictions and specific uses. We don't have the ability to necessarily take money from that red bucket and then say, well, let's use it in the green or yellow bucket, but still critically important to what we do. As we talk about the state budget, this is somewhat hard to read. It comes straight from the governor's budget recommendations. The big part of our funding comes from the general revenue budget, which is about $16.2 billion for the state. And of that, they classify $7.2 billion as discretionary. And you can see higher ed used to be one of the largest parts of that, and now they've included K through 12 in this discretionary bucket as well. Overall, the amount of funding we receive is about 7% of that discretionary budget. So that's more just to highlight that for you and have an understanding of as the state might contemplate budget headwinds in future years. Typically, the reductions have come out of that discretionary revenue bucket. I did want to highlight, as we think about the big drivers being state support, enrollment and tuition, research, healthcare, our research reactor, and others in terms of revenue. There's been a lot of discussion as well about FTEs and enrollments. We've been 2% up as a system. I think there's a clear kind of segmentation of, you've seen MU's enrollment grow at about 2.6%, and then the rest of the schools in our system have seen declines, but you kind of can draw a line from CMO up, and those institutions have seen changes in their enrollment, but maybe not to the severe degree. As you go below CMO, you start to get into almost 30+% declines in enrollment. I think, while there's been focus in Jefferson City this year about FTE and enrollments, and there's additional information in the paper on this, but the American Enterprise Institute wrote a paper called Learning with Their Feet, Student Enrollment Trends. We found this to be pretty interesting and I think reinforces our view that outcomes matter. What they're correlating is that based on these graduation rates, default rates, earnings after enrollment, there is a correlation to your changes in enrollment. And the higher performing public universities, especially flagships, are either holding steady in terms of their enrollment or growing it. They're measuring these changes in enrollment. This is not us, this is just nationally, from 2010 to 2023. If you then go to the next chart, just trying to give a sense of how our universities stack up, and all of our universities would be at or close to the median in both the best or second best category. The green is where we meet or exceed the median values for the best institutions. I think we need to continue to improve, but it does show the value and quality of degrees that our universities offer. As we think about the key planning assumptions that we're incorporating into our budgets to bring forward in June, enrollment is, I think largely budgeted to be flat with some increases depending on the individual university. Moderate tuition increases, really align kind of with the demand for those programs. As we look across surrounding states and some other state schools, you're seeing kind of a range of anywhere from 2.5% to 6%. I don't think we'll be on the low end of that, and I certainly don't think we'll be on the high end of that. Our flat appropriations from the state, we're budgeting those to be consistent with the governor's recommendation, which would be flat. We do have compensation increases that are based on performance that are being contemplated at each university, probably in the 2% range. That doesn't mean everybody would get a 2% increase, but there would be a pool available to address performance and market-based issues. And then the last point, I think, is something it's an expectation, is that we'll align our budgets with the recurring spending based on where we are projecting the revenue to come in, and if it doesn't materialize, we'd make adjustments accordingly. So I'll stop there just to see if there's any questions about our budgetary outlook and assumptions before I get into some of the administrative cost improvement.
Are there any questions for Ryan on the budget outlook?
All right. Well then, just as we think about administrative cost, I think it's an important part of our budget. Just wanted to highlight some things, and we've kind of got 3 different data points. This comes from information that all universities are required to report. We're the second lowest in the SEC as a percentage of our total budget. Now, some of that's, we have a size and scale that some of them don't. What this really focuses on is what we spend in 3 areas, which is academic support. So think of your deans, your librarians, that's in academic support. And then you have student services, which would be things like financial aid, admissions, your enrollment management office, and then institutional support, which would be things like human resources, finance, and IT. And then the rest of, if you go, where's the other 92% spent is really spent on instruction, research, public service, our auxiliary operations, like think of that yellow bucket, the hospital, healthcare, things like that. So, even just if you said, I didn't worry about these percentages, we're still spending about $130 million less than our SEC peers on administrative costs. And again, I would acknowledge there is a portion of that's driven, those of us that are on the lower end typically have health systems, so you have a wider cost base to spread some of those costs. So it's not just, I want to be clear on that, but I do think it's important. The other thing we've looked at is this is just another look at this, and we do participate in a consortium where we can benchmark our administrative labor spend, and it's not based on iPads, but really looking at, you can see on the right, where do we spend compared to peers as a percentage. And I think it kind of holds true to what you saw earlier, is we're spending less than peers as it relates to those functions in HR, IT, finance, and general admin. Kind of gives you some sense of where we spend in that. So I do think this is a key component of when you see MU and what Chancellor Degani was highlighting, we're commonly cited in a lot of these studies or rankings as being a best value. That coupled with reasonable, affordable tuition, I think, is one of the key drivers of why you continue to see that reflected. This is also then just looking at the changes we've seen in our administrative and staff positions. And I think it's really been driven by the things we've done in terms of shared services, consolidation, utilizing technology, and that, almost 45% decline in office and admin support has been intentional, really trying to refocus, and you see kind of then not equal FTE growth, but some of that has been reflected then in our business operations and management positions. And then when you look at, well, where has the growth really occurred, it's really been driven by healthcare and some of the grant revenue. So you look at this growth of 4.7%, keep in mind that's the same time our healthcare enterprise and grant revenue has grown by almost 125% over that same period. So if you say, well, what have been some of the things that have allowed for this? I don't think there's any one thing, and we're never done on improving in this space, but the work that's been done more recently in terms of our medical plan management, the pension, we've made consolidations in how we support the back office for e-learning. I also think some of the things we've done in terms of how we budget and try to control for administrative costs relative to the rest of the budget, making sure those increases never outpace the overall growth in the organization. I think there's a lot of talk about AI, and we've got a lot of folks using it individually. We do have some use cases where we have actually deployed it. So think of contract management, our accounts payable. We've done some work with some of our HR processes. So I think we haven't realized all that potential, but I think, as we go through the next year, we'll continue to make progress on that front. We're working right now on how we can improve cost management as it relates to construction projects, particularly our smaller construction projects. So it's not the biggest dollar, but, you know, we've got a lot of projects. The majority of our projects are less than $1 million, so are there things we can do to improve both the efficiency and cost effectiveness of that? Looking at how we can better, you know, I think continue to kind of improve how we manage our cash flow through our banking relationships. And then as we touched on the last meeting, moving from our on-premise PeopleSoft solution to a cloud-based solution for finance, HR, and student. So I think, you know, as I kind of try to summarize the things we've done administratively, I don't think it's just been our management. I think we've, you know, it's commonly cited in our rating agency reports, our board governance, our financial governance policies, and how those work, I think, have set us up to do this. And, you know, those things coupled with reasonable tuition, I do think, is what really drives the value in terms of how we rank compared to peer institutions. You know, at the same time, it's a continuous improvement mindset, so how do we get better each year? I don't think we ever look at this and say, well, we're done. That's really supported, you know, I would say we have kind of 4 big pillars that drive our, you know, financial performance and then really our ability to invest in the mission. And right now I'm talking about this lower right quadrant in terms of administrative efficiency, but those are the things that we think about as we contemplate the budget. For next steps, you know, we're reviewing our assumptions. We'll go over our 5-year capital plan. In May, we'll make a recommendation on tuition and fees for next year, and then at June, we would bring a final operating budget for the board's consideration. So happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Ryan on either of these? Thank you, Ryan. I think you and your team do a really terrific job, and it's not overlooked, I think, by this board.
Well,
but thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Okay, the second item, information item, is on debt and credit update for the University of Missouri system. And ECHO Representative Rob Kanzer, along with Treasurer Kevin Hogg, will provide the debt and credit update. So, Rob and Kevin.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thanks for having me. So every year in April, we usually provide an update on the debt portfolio as well as the credit worthiness of the institution as measured by the rating agencies, Moody's and S&P. So I'll go through some highlights of each of those items, and please feel free to stop me with any questions. So starting with the debt portfolio, really no significant changes during fiscal '25. Total debt outstanding has been relatively stable at about $1.5 billion. The debt portfolio is comprised 100% of fixed-rate debt with a mix of tax-exempt and taxable debt, and the system's ratings remain at AA1 stable by Moody's and AA plus stable by S&P, and as we'll show on a later chart, that's among the highest of the universe of institutions that Moody's and S&P rate. As far as the outlook for managing the debt portfolio, looking ahead, you know, a lot of that will be driven by the capital plans that are being developed, and we'll come back to you at the next meeting to discuss. There are a few projects on the horizon that may have some debt associated with them. And then, as always, you know, we keep an eye on interest rates and the market environment to see if there are any opportunities within the existing debt portfolio to reduce cost. And so we've got, you know, 2 series of Build America bonds that are on the radar that we may take some action on in the future. In terms of the portfolio, as I mentioned, the chart on the right shows that the total amount of debt outstanding has been relatively stable, hovering, you know, around $1.6 billion over time. And the portfolio, as it's constituted today, is about 35% tax-exempt fixed-rate debt and 65% taxable fixed-rate debt. As we talk about the different types of debt that the system has, it's really in 3 buckets here. The first one being the system facilities revenue bonds, if you want to think about that as the vehicle for financing, providing long-term financing for capital projects. Again, those bonds are rated AA1 by Moody's and AA+ by S&P. In addition, there's a second bucket, the commercial paper program. This is really more for bridge financing, and you'll see the ratings are a little bit different there. Those are short-term ratings for Moody's and S&P, but those are the highest short-term ratings for each agency. And then in addition, there's also a third bucket where we look at different types of leases that are used for smaller projects. This slide, I won't spend too much time on, but this is just a series-by-series look at the outstanding debt portfolio. Again, a mix of tax-exempt and taxable debt, all fixed rate. The commercial paper program is effectively variable rate debt, and that those rates reset at most every 270 days, but there's no commercial paper outstanding at this time. And then finally, on the debt portfolio, this is just a look at the annual debt service. The dark blue bars are the principal amounts that come due in the various fiscal years, and the gray bars are the interest expense that's expected. And as each of those sort of larger principal payments come due, the university typically looks at the market and makes a determination as to whether those bonds will be paid down or refinanced or restructured. Any questions on the debt portfolio before I move on to the credit profile update? Okay. All right, so talking about the creditworthiness of the university, Moody's and S&P affirmed the ratings, again, AA1, AA+, just a few months ago. What we've summarized here on this slide are the credit strengths and challenges identified by the rating agencies. I would point out that even for the most highly rated institutions, of which you are one of them, there are always credit challenges to sort of counterbalance the credit strength. So nobody necessarily gets a perfect score, if you will, but these are just sort of the high points in terms of what the agencies are observing about the university. And obviously, the importance of the land-grant mission here is critical as a credit strength, as well as the strong financial management that shows through the operating performance and all the things that we've gone through today in terms of the great things going on at the various campuses. One of the things we also like to look at with each rating agency report is not only what they are saying, but is the language changing? Are we reading between the lines in terms of things that are perhaps more of a pressure point for the rating? And what we've observed, at least over the last couple of reports for both Moody's and S&P, is that the language has been very consistent. Really no mention of concerns about the balance sheet or the debt level. It's really more about looking forward and what the operating performance will be driven by enrollment. And then finally, we like to always show this slide at the end, just in terms of the distribution of ratings from Moody's for public universities. As you can see, the university is in the AA1 category on the far left here. That puts you in the top 11% of all the public institutions that Moody's rates. So very good company there. And that's also not only a testament to what has been done from a financial management and governance perspective, but it also allows the university flexibility when it does come time to issue debt to keep that cost of debt low in the market. And with that, I will pause for any questions that anyone has.
I have one question or observation. They list as a challenge the fact that 75% of our students are from Missouri, but as a land grant, it seems like that would also be an asset for us.
I think that's right, and obviously that's part of the mission here, right? It's not. So I think they identify it just in terms of the concentration risk, if you will, but I think they also recognize that for a land-grant institution, that's part of the mission, and so, frankly, I don't know that that's actually a real concern when it comes down to it.
And is it also tied to population growth in Missouri being pretty
Yeah, I think
flat?
I think the quote-unquote demographic cliff is has gotten a lot of attention, but there's absolutely a differentiation in terms of regional, pressures on demographics and high school graduates, so.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to add to Rob's comment. Curator Cruzen, that's something that I think I argue with them just about every rating cycle over this. Because it actually cuts both ways. If we were sitting here and saying 49% of our students were coming from out of state, they would say, well, you're subject to volatility of that out-of-state enrollment deteriorating. So to Rob's point earlier, they're always going to point out some challenges. I don't think they see this as a major challenge. I actually argue I think it's a benefit, meaning we've got kind of this stable base of enrollment, and you are seeing a bifurcation between kind of regional universities and flagships and land grants.
Right, thank you.
I have a question. So, I mean, the presentation shows that we're being very fiscally responsible and watching our expenses, and our expenses are low in comparison to everybody else. My question is, are we being overly fiscally responsible, and should we be investing more and taking a little bit more risk than we do, and would that pay off, or has anybody looked into that at all?
Yeah, I can, I think that's, if you think about how our financial policy works, that's really something, I think that we look to the board and president to consider.
Look to the board for that?
Yeah. The point being, our financial policy really says that the choice to draw down on our financial wealth is really, one, needs to be intentional, and it's something that the president and board would have to recommend. If you look at our scorecard, I think, our operating performance is actually single A rated. So, I think that's where, if you look at these scorecards across institutions, they're going to look different. It means we're not generating, excessive or high cash flow margins. Most of our credit strength is really derived from our balance sheet.
Question, just kind of a comment or a question, follow up on Bob's there. I'm thinking that, with the building of Next Gen MER, we may solve that problem, Bob. There's going to be a lot of debt there. There's going to be a lot of worries on our part as to how this is all going to come. Make sure we can afford what we're doing here. So, for us to be able to even do that project, to be in the position we're in, is an advantage to be able to do it. And we'll have to manage very carefully over the next several years to make sure we don't put ourselves in a bad spot with that much or that size of a project. It's like, what is it, the largest project ever undertaken by any university in the country. So this could be having the kind of financial strength that we have right now is going to be a tremendous asset in order for us to be undertake this big project. Just a comment.
Yeah,
Well, your point's well taken, but
it's a financial project. It's a huge project. And, I'm not sure we have the ability ourselves to finance that. We need a lot of help. But I'm just talking about the everyday things that, are we missing something? Is there something we can spend to get more enrollment, something to attract students for the present? And I'm not looking at long-term projects. I'm looking for how we operate now.
it's kind of like putting money in the bank, though. You're by doing this now, you can take advantage of things down the road because you are fiscally sound. You do have the ability to go out and do things. So I understand your point. I'm just thinking that because we have got ourselves in a good position, we actually are able to take advantage of opportunities as they come along in a better way.
Well, the question was meant to be provocative, so thanks, Blaine.
Right.
So could we spend a little more now on something and get a good return on it? Yeah, okay. Are there any further questions or comments from the board? Thank you. Thank you very much, Rob and Kevin. Since there are no further questions, we will move on to the action items. The first action item is the 5-year capital plans for MU MU Healthcare, Missouri S&T, UMKC, and UMSL. Materials for that 5-year capital plans for each of the entities have been provided and are in your packet. And Executive Vice President of Finance and Operations, Ryan Rapp, will present the plans. Ryan?
Thank you. Thank you. You're one ahead of me. We're on the capital plan presentation. Then Mo will follow. Thank you. This is just, so we bring this before the board every 6 months. And again, the master plan informs the capital plan. The capital plans then inform or, work in conjunction with our financial plans. But approval of a master plan, approval of the capital plan is not the same as an individual project being approved. So any of these individual projects would still come back to the board for approval. We have 2 types of projects, and you'll see that it's reflected in the materials and on the slides that are forthcoming. We have those that have been included in our financial plans and have a specific plan of finance, which means they're probably closer to coming to the board for action at some point. Then we have strategic development projects, which are really items that are still under development, but as members of our universities are out talking about these projects, we want to make sure the board understands the strategic reasoning for those projects and answer any questions. So this is just another way to think about this. Universities go through, they prioritize their projects. How does it relate to the mission? What's the funding possibilities? And then they're placed on either the 5-year finance plan or they're placed on this strategic development project. And then we review and seek approval at this meeting. Those are then, if there's any update that needs to be made or modifications, we make those at the September meeting. With that, I'll just kind of provide a high-level summary. I'm not going to read all of these to you, but this represents the projects that are included in the finance plan. And so we've got Next Gen MER Phase 1, 2, and 3. I do want to highlight that that's about a $300 million project combined that would be funded through sources generated by MER as well as federal and state sources. I think then as we actually think about the construction, and to Curator Luchtermeyer's point, that's further out, but we'll be contemplating both using some of the equity that MER's built up along with some debt financing, and then securing some sources from both federal and local sources. Some of the other projects on here, there's not been a lot of changes. You see some M&R projects and just investments in infrastructure. The other thing I'd say is like Strickland Hall, that's our, we put a lot of students through those classrooms, and we've invested. Some of what I think you're seeing reflected here is, yes, we'll continue to invest in research, but we've got some instructional areas that are going to need some updating as well. And then a plan, when I say decommissioning and mitigation of Pickard Hall, our intention's not to tear that facility down, but be able to utilize the facility after we work through the decommissioning and mitigation with the NRC. Then as far as projects that are still in development that we don't necessarily have funding sources for, I'd highlight engineering, Naka Hall, and then also just looking at renewals and additions to some parts of the White campus at MU, along with a couple of other infrastructure projects. With MU Healthcare, these are in the plan, but I think they continue to look at, what's the timing of these types of projects relative to their overall financial performance, and will kind of delay those projects accordingly as they need to. But really what you're seeing is looking to partner with Callaway County. It's about a $4 million project that would be spread out over a number of years, along with then a reinvestment in the Keene Street Medical Campus to decant from the main campus, along with small investment, I shouldn't say small, but about $11 million investment in Jefferson City in their Madison Street Medical Building. I think then as you go to UMKC, one thing I want to keep in mind while we have several universities that don't have things in the finance plan, keep in mind we're kind of coming off, probably the largest set of capital projects for all of our universities. So I don't have a lot of concern with that, but they've got several that they're looking at from a development standpoint in terms of an expansion into St. Joe. The Olson Performing Arts Center is currently, phase one is underway and largely funded by gifts. And then potentially, I think these are all potential projects that they'll continue to evaluate the feasibility for. Missouri S&T, I think Chancellor Degani will go in more depth about their future plans, but these are some of the projects that they're looking at. Probably the most immediate, while it's not in the finance plan, is the critical minerals scaling facility. That's a $25 million project that they're contemplating on how they might be able to bring forward this year or next year. And then the last would be looking at a hotel and conference center in 2028. For UMSL, I think you see the science complex renovations. It's a $60 million project that they're contemplating. I think with Chancellor Soblick's leadership, a lot of the focus at UMSL has been consolidating to the North Campus. In the materials, I don't have a slide on it. We target every campus having a facilities condition need index below 0.3. UMSL is the only one with one above it. I think it's at a 0.33, so they're close. And I think by the time we get done with the consolidation projects at UMSL, we'll be below that threshold. But that's just kind of going over this at a high level. I know there was a lot in the materials. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Ryan on the capital plan? So if there are no questions, sounds like there are not, may I have a motion and a second from the committee to approve the 5-year capital plans for MU, MU Healthcare, Missouri S&T, UMKC, and UMSL?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor on the committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Chair Graves, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to recommend to the full board that the 5-year capital plans for MU, MU Healthcare, Missouri S&T, UMKC, and UMSL be approved as outlined in the materials before you.
Hearing this motion from Curator Cruzen, may I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Second item is the Missouri S&T Master Plan. Materials for this Missouri S&T Master Plan have been provided and are in your packet, and Chancellor Mo Degani will present the Missouri S&T Master Plan.
Thank you. I want to first thank the Brian Rapp, Vice President Rapp, for all of his support all along for our last 5-year plan and the current one that I'm going to present to you. You remember I left you with this slide. You can see on far up left corner of the picture is the Protoplex that we were in yesterday, and then there is the Innovation Lab Welcome Center, and in the foreground is where we are going to build the Bioplex. So keep that image in mind when I go to this picture. You'll see where I-44 is, and the red circle is the Protoplex, and the purple circle is where the building we are in right now. So that should orient you. Everything highlighted in yellow is what we accomplished this past 5 years. And that's really a remarkable set of achievements for our physical plant folks. I've been to 5 universities before my current station in life, and I put our physical plant team, Fred Stone, I don't know if Fred is here, and Vice Chancellor Alicia O'Neill, and of course, Vice President Ryan Rapp. I put them against anybody of any place. They are intelligent and frankly very shrewd managers of programs like this and shrewd buyers of construction services. The rigor through which they go to acquire construction services is really remarkable. I've been close enough to the process to see it firsthand, and I want to thank all of them for what they do. So, with that, this is again an image of the campus, the ones that you've seen. Some of them are really a state-of-the-art facility for a university our size. This was the last of the bunch that has been completed in the Arrival District, our oldest building on campus, Rolla Building, and here is a collage of the pictures as they see. A beautiful, beautiful building, and particularly when Fred turns the switch of the green lights on, and it looks really, really beautiful on campus. But here's our master plan strategy for the next 5 years. We try to maintain our facilities, grow them, and achieve the national recognition. So everything that you see here maps really into our North Star goals as you saw it. So all integrated planning, physical facility, academic programs, and everything else. You see how we engage our stakeholders. We are, again, thanks to Fred, we are in constant communication with our faculty, students, staff. City of Rolla, who's just newly elected mayor, is an alum, an engineer, and we are very much looking forward to continued collaborations. When in a city the size of Rolla, we are the community and the community is us. And we cherish that relationship and we work with them. As you can see, the highlights in the area, just to show you where our strength and challenges and opportunities lie. And we considered all of that, worked with everybody in order to come up with our next year capital plan. And our existing facility, as you can imagine, we evaluate them all the time. The quality and condition of our existing facility range from excellent all the way to where you actually are better off to replace the facility. For the Arrival District, as you see the new buildings in it, there were 7 buildings that fell in the farthest right-hand side category, and we removed them. And of course, we built the new facilities. But we have about $100 million in the first 2 categories where we are actually renovating the existing facilities because they lend themselves to doing that. Here are our planning principles: existing space optimization, campus connectivity is a big element for us, strategic districts. We have, of course, as you saw, the very first building of what we call our innovation campus across the highway, and there are multiple buildings planned. And keep in mind that some of these conversations are not only 5-year planning, but longer, 10-year plan, 15-year plan. Some of them are horizon goals and over the horizon goals and all of that, because we must know what goes where if we are to plan, acquisition of a piece of land or demolition of a facility and replacement and relocation of people and all of that. So with all of that I just said, collaborations of the community, the city, our faculty, staff, students, the 4 principles that we considered, we have a vision. We have a vision for our future campus. We want to create an attractive campus environment, expand collaboration, research, faculty participation, student engagement, and advance community development. Again, we are the biggest game in town here, and we are the destination for a lot of our community people, our campus, our walkways, our trails, everything else on campus. So all of that is in mind when we designed the plan. Now, if you look at the red dot on the top of the picture, that is the Protoplex. That's across the highway. On this side of the highway, you see the green arrow on the top right-hand corner. That shows our existing dormitories. And then the green dot below it are all the future residential halls for our students. Just gives you a sense of where we are. The yellow dot is the district where we call, the hotel and conference center. This is the biggest conference room that we have on campus. And since we've become an R1 university, there is a lot of demand on holding national and international conferences and symposia. And as a result, we are in desperate need for our next level growth to have a conference center and a hotel that goes along with it. As you know, the conditions of our hotels here in Rolla, they're not bad, but if you want to attract researchers from around the world to come to our conferences and symposia, then we are looking to build our conference center and hotel. And then the campus west, as you see here, the arrow, that's really all of our mixed-use commercial residential facilities for the campus. Here is a picture of our hotel and conference center. From our arrival district, you can see this hotel and conference center, and from this facility, you can see our arrival district. And a lot of effort has gone into making sure that the design and the aesthetics of this facility maps into our arrival district as well. Here is a look of the inside, the conference center. Some other rooms, a nice restaurant. What you saw in Rolla last night was the nicest restaurant that we have in town. The food was great, the facility is okay, but we want to up that, and we want to have a better. We ought to live it up, with giving what's happening here. So, and then here is really our sports complex. We have no intentions of becoming a Division I, even though we've got people like Owen here who could take us to that level. But this is a picture of our sports facility, a new field house, desperately needed field house. What we have on our football stadium now is decades old, and locker rooms and everything else. But we need to do more for our student athletes as well. Here is the innovation campus. You identify, you notice the Missouri Protoplex, the building that we were in, but we have big dreams for the innovation campus. I will talk about others, the various plexes that we have in mind, and they will all be housed in this area. Again, this is not the 5-year plan, but we must keep our options open for the longer version of our plan. Here is back to this same picture again. As the caption says, we are not just planning for success, we are building for success. And with that, I will be glad to respond to any questions.
Any questions? Thank you so much. Since there are no questions, may I have a motion and a second from the committee to approve Missouri S&T's master plan?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of committee members signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none and having a unanimous vote, Chair Graves, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to recommend to the full board that the Missouri S&T Master Plan be approved as outlined in the materials before you.
Hearing this recommendation from Curator Cruzen, may I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Does that conclude your program?
That does conclude it.
All right, thank you. It is now 9:43, and we're going to take a 10-minute break. Welcome back. Curator Fry, I turn it over to you for the Governance, Compensation, and Human Resources Committee.
Thank you, Chair Graves. The Governance and Human Resources Committee has two information items today. Number one, the 2025 Annual Budgets Report, and number two, the Annual Retirement Plan Actuarial Report will be provided, was provided in your board materials. Vice President Marcia Fisher will provide a few highlights from the report and be available for questions.
Thank you, Curator Fry. As stated, there in more detail are the highlights of the trends, cost, and contributions in the benefit report for 2025. And we also go into more detail about the variety of market competitive benefits that we offer to employees, including choice of health plans and retirement plans depending on date of hire. About 88% of our total benefit cost is between health benefits and retirement, so we'll focus a lot of our attention on those two areas. I would highlight that one particular benefit that is a market distinction for us is our tuition assistance benefit that's often attractive when we're recruiting people to the university. It allows for tuition reduction for both employees, dependents, and spouses. We are facing cost pressures in our medical and pharmacy claims. Our medical plan claims per member increased by 8.2%. Putting that in context, it's slightly below United's benchmark of 9%. About 26% of the total spend is from catastrophic claims, and we did see a 10.5% in catastrophic claims. Catastrophic claims are those that are over 100,000, with the top driver being circulatory or heart issues, and the second driver being cancer. It's important that we report each year. You have the full annual actuarial valuation in your materials, but we like to highlight the actuarial funding ratio for our pension. It has increased or improved from 78.41% to 81.09%, and that's primarily because our return on investments was higher than the actuarially assumed rate of 7%. We do continue to make the actuarially determined contribution to the plan, and we're starting work to begin what we do every 5 years, an evaluation of the assumptions, actuarial assumptions, to make sure that they're still solid or whether any improvements or minor changes need to be made. We have a variety of strategies and tools that we'd use to try to manage costs in our benefit plans, and I'll highlight just a couple of those for you. This year, we went to an RFP for a pharmacy benefit management, or PBM. You might have heard the acronym, Archimedes. And that is to help us manage our specialty drug spend. We absolutely want our employees to have the care that they need, but managing that to the most cost-effective way and still meeting the needs is important, both for the cost of the employees as well as the cost for the university. The second thing that I would highlight is we will be in 2027 going to the market to look at our Medicare options and solutions. There's been some volatility in that area and some changes, and so we will be looking to see if there's ways to find better solutions in that space. I think those are the ones that I'll highlight for you. In the report, it goes into a lot of detail of the different strategies that we implement, including our 3-year roadmap. And then finally, I'll highlight for you that we are concluding the optional defined contribution opt-in program. You'll recall that the board approved this program to allow employees to choose to move from our pension plan to a defined contribution plan. That election window just recently closed April 10th, and those changes will be made in September. So with that, I'll ask if there's any questions, but those are the areas that I would highlighted for you.
Excuse me, I noticed in one of our financial documents that one of the noted risk factors was our continuing pension obligation. And we've talked about this, and I know you're working on it, but I'd just like to once again reiterate that any opportunities we have in the short term, intermediate term, long term, we would still like to try to move to take that risk off the university and place it elsewhere if we could.
Understood. Any other questions?
One question, Marcia. Yes. The election window just closed, I see. How was the participation?
So we were very pleased with the number of people who requested packets and engaged in the educational opportunities, one-on-one counselings. These are estimated numbers that may change based on paper packet elections still coming in or determining whether people are eligible. But approximately 4.4% took advantage of the plan, and that number could change slightly.
Thank you.
That was probably in line, lower end of our expectations, but in line with what we'd expected. Chair Graves, to your point, I think we've also learned some things that through this that I think we'll contemplate that, we may come back to the board at a later date to say, is there, some of it is getting people to chef, but some of it may be that we want to allow people to have 100% buyout at retirement. But part of it is, and I think there's a lot of discussion we're going to have over the next year around how do we really manage that volatility of the pension, because that's what can be really disruptive to our university budget.
Yeah, and as people in this room know, it's a closed system now. So now we're just trying to evaluate that long-term liability, and at some point, we all know that there will be, for the right price, someone would take that over for us, and the more we can whittle it down. I mean, I'm saying things we've said over and over, and you agree with. So,
Well, the opportunity for people to switch still exists just because this program is closed now. They will still have this opportunity in the future to switch to
So
a
at
DC
retirement, they have the option to take a 30% lump sum currently, but I believe that's what Ryan was mentioning, evaluating whether there would be an option to take a full 100%. And of course, we can evaluate whether running this program more frequently would be beneficial. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions? That concludes our report.
thank you, Curator Fry. Curator Singfield, we now turn to you for the Academic Student Affairs Research and Economic Development Committee meeting.
Thank you. Today, the committee will receive an update for S&T concerning intercollegiate athletics and review 2 new degree program proposals. So we will begin, there you are, with the intercollegiate update from S&T. Melissa Ringhausen is the Director of Athletics, will provide a brief presentation and will be available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you this morning to the curators for allowing me the opportunity to present on minor athletics. I think you will find that our student athletes had an incredible 2024-25 year with a lot of historic, record-breaking successes. So just to refresh everyone, Missouri S&T, we're an NCAA Division II institution. We compete in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. We sponsor 17 sports here at the university, serving about 490 student athletes, 91 on the presentation, so to be exact. I think what you will find in our 2024-25 highlights is that our student athletes had a record-breaking finish academically. It is very impressive what they accomplished. Also, we had some conference championships that were absolutely incredible, as well as hit some historic milestones in many of our programs, and we'll go through those. We also had our first, as you guys met earlier, Owen Frazier, our individual track and field national champion, our first in track and field, and that was an exciting part of our year, as well as we finished our second highest finish in the NCAA Division II Learfield Cup, and we also finished, had our highest finish in the Great Lakes Valley Commissioners Cup since we came into the GLVC back in 2005. So some impressive highlights that we'll run through as we move forward. So academically, our student athletes had a record high 3.56 GPA. So all 491 combined, 3.56 GPA, pretty incredible. All of our teams had a 3.30 GPA or higher, and many of our teams had a 3.5 or higher. So extremely impressive in the classroom. Our graduation rate continues to exceed the general student body, 73%. And our academic success rate, which is a metric just that we look at in athletics in NCAA, continues to show that we are very strong academically within the athletic department. We had historic milestones in some of our academic accolades with our conference accolades academically, as well as some of our district accolades. So our student athletes continue to perform well, and what I hope this slide shows is that our coaches are recruiting student athletes that are mirroring the mission of the university. They are mirroring the North Star goals, what we're trying to do as a university. They are successful. They are leaders on campus. Our coaches, our staff, we take academics extremely serious here. And this GPA continues to, each year, I'm always impressed, like 3.56, can we exceed that? And each year we continue to build on that. So it is a testament to that we prioritize, and academics are number one in our athletic department, and I think this is a great reflection of that. Competitively, we talked about, as a highlight, we had our second highest finish in the NCAA Division II Learfield Directors Cup. We had our highest finish in our GLVC Commissioners Cup. And what these two metrics show is that our teams as a department, if you look comprehensively as an athletic department, we don't just have one or two teams that are excelling, but it's looking at the department as a whole. The higher you finish, go into postseason, regionals, national championships, working towards that, you get points. And what those tell you is that as a department as a whole, our teams are competing and going further into postseason and performing better. And so those were exciting finishes. It just shows the consistency, the breadth of our department, and that our teams are doing well, and that we don't just have one team that's kind of out there being successful for us, but that it's all of our teams are improving in their success. We had 8 teams that qualified for postseason. I believe that was a record as well. So our teams are just moving further and performing better with each coming year. We also celebrated 3 conference championships in 2024-25. And not to be a spoiler, but we continued to have more success in 25-26. But you'll have to wait till next year to hear about that. So. Program highlights, baseball, they won their first GLVC conference tournament championship, giving them an at-large berth into the regional, a very exciting part of their program. Our men's golf team, they also won their first GLVC tournament championship, very exciting for them, going into regionals, and then they made it all the way to the national championship, all the way to match play, which is basically finishing in your top 4 in the nation. So very successful. It was a great run for both of those programs. Men's basketball, they had a program record of 25 wins. It was a great run for that program. They won their first GLVC conference championship as well. They were number 1 in the region, which gave S&T the opportunity to host the NCAA Midwest region. That was very exciting for our program and our institution. And we were ranked as high as 5th in the nation at various times during the season. So that program has really built in the last several years and continued to be strong this year as well. So a lot of great things going on with our men's basketball program. And then, as we know, Owen Frazier, you've recognized him. He's been in several slides. Owen Frazier, not only 4.0 student athlete, winning the discus, he just won the shot this year in the indoor track and field, so continues to have success. But what you also don't know about him is he is just a lovely, and I use that word, lovely person. He's a big teddy bear. He's just a wonderful student athlete and leader on campus. The student athlete continues to be a strong emphasis in our department. We continue to do professional development opportunities for them, developing leadership skills. We do a number of life skill development programs with them, financial planning, career development opportunities. But we also do community service. We had the tornado that went through in March of 2025. all of our teams, with the exception of men's basketball, because they were competing in the regional tournament, but all of our teams immediately, without hesitation, stepped up, went into our community, and helped our community recover from that. And that's just the kind of student athletes that we have. They are very service-driven. They focus on their academics. They compete hard. They're just wonderful student athletes. So basically, in summary, I hope that you can see what a great, our athletic department, we have great individuals. They represent S&T extremely well. They are an integral part of our campus. And, our teams are doing extremely well. Our competitiveness, our teams performing, they are doing extremely well. We're very committed to developing our student athletes, having them to be career ready when they go out into the workforce, and we're very proud of them. Any questions? Yes?
First of all, congratulations on
Thank you.
Spectacular. Second, the Learfield's Directors Cup, that's not the directors of Learfield, that's for athletic directors. Is that,
It's called the NCAA Division II Learfield's Directors Cup.
and does that have athletic directors? Is that for athletic directors, or is
No, it's based on, you take all your teams in your department, and based on how they perform, they get a point. They get points, basically. So the more points you have, the higher up you finish. There's 303 institutions in Division II. We were 77th.
and this is just because I don't know, do you give athletic scholarships?
We do. We Division II, in Division I, you have your primary sports, your football, your basketballs they can give a full, a half, or nothing. In Division II, you can partial it out, so you can give academic and you can stack with athletic. But we also have a number of walk-ons that may not get athletic scholarships. So it's partial scholarshiping.
Thank you.
Yep.
Curator Blitz, it does refer to directors of athletics.
The Directors Cup, so the athletic director is getting, my point was trying to be, congratulations to you for getting that up there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, President Choi.
Okay. I had one question. Besides the Division II athletics, what other athletics do you do at S&T, like clubs and for those who aren't good enough to make the teams?
So we have a very robust club program as well. We run 17 club sports, and so club sports have the opportunity to compete against other institutions, and those are student-led organizations. And we have a number of those programs have the opportunity to go on and compete. I mean, they have smaller schedules. They don't practice as often. But we have actually very successful club sports as well. We had 6 or 7 that made their nationals through their national organization. And then we also have intramurals, which is very competitive on this campus. With the last time we did our census, we had over 1,100 participants that participate in intramurals on our campus. So it's very robust and active on campus.
So you can be an engineer and an athlete, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I couldn't be either.
You couldn't be either, okay. So are there any other questions? Well, thank you and congratulations on what's happening here. And I'm glad that a lot of other students who don't make the thing are able to play.
Absolutely. No, we use it to build camaraderie and friendships.
Good. Thank you. Next, we will consider proposals for 2 new degree programs. Each university will present their proposals, well, not university, each of their department, available for questions. After the presentations are made, I will entertain a motion to approve both degree proposals as a single package. So our first action item is a proposal for a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry at S&T. Dr. Merzad Borouzierde, Vice Provost and Dean of the College of Arts and Science. How are you doing? And his colleague, Dr. Pablo Sobrano, he's the Endowed Chair of Biochemistry, are here to provide a brief presentation and answer questions.
Good morning. Today I will briefly present the proposal for a new biochemistry degree program. This proposal is driven by 2 key factors: rapid changes in the field of biochemistry and increasing workforce demand for graduates with this expertise. Biochemistry is no longer a narrow discipline. In recent years, it has expanded significantly to intersect with areas such as computer science, molecular biology, and biomedical engineering. This evolution makes it one of the most dynamic and interdisciplinary fields of study today. The proposed program is designed to prepare students for this modern landscape. Graduates will be well-positioned for careers across a wide range of industries, including pharmaceuticals, agricultural biotechnology, healthcare, and environmental conservation. Importantly, many job postings specifically seek candidates with this type of degree, allowing students to enter the workforce immediately after graduation in places like St. Louis or Kansas City. At the same time, the program maintains a strong academic rigor, providing an excellent foundation for those who wish to pursue graduate or professional education in fields such as medicine, research, or advanced biotechnology. This proposal also aligns closely with Missouri S&T's broader strategic investment in biological research. Introducing a biochemistry degree will strengthen these efforts, enhance the university's reputation in the life sciences, and help attract both high-quality students and faculty to its growing programs. In summary, this program responds to industry demand, reflects the evolving nature of science, and supports institutional goals, making it a timely and valuable addition. Thank you. Any questions?
How many students do you expect to have per year?
Let my colleague Pablo respond.
Yeah, so initially we think that we're going to, after 4 years, we're going to have around 100 students in this program.
So many students that study biochemistry are on the pre-med track. So is that going to be one of your focus areas, to have a pre-med track through this program?
We'll advise them in that area as well, but we believe that, and the data shows that biochemistry as a degree is quite strong for admissions into medical school.
So, are there any other questions? Well, thank you very much. Next, we will have a proposal for a Bachelor of Science in Construction Management from Mizzou. Dr. Marisa Crisocco, Dean of the College of Engineering, and her colleague, Dr. Carlos Sun, are joining us via Zoom to provide a brief presentation and answer questions. You may begin.
Thank you, Curator Singfield, for the opportunity to present the new bachelor's degree in construction management. This is a program that is offered out of the College of Engineering, but it is a significant interdisciplinary collaboration between the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, the Department of Architectural Studies within the College of Arts and Science, the True-Last College of Business, and the Novak Leadership Institute. This bachelor's degree builds off of the very successful minor in construction management that the department has offered since 2017. We currently have 120 students over this academic year enrolled in their construction minor, and we expect that a significant portion of the students will be interested in the bachelor's degree as well. So the new bachelor's degree will take the construction management courses that already exist and combine them with the business, the leadership, the management, and planning aspects that will be offered from existing courses of other departments. And so the net number of new courses that are being offered is low, which means that there is a relatively low risk and low cost of investment, but the types of jobs and the types of opportunities that will be offered to students will be significantly increased. This degree has been offered with a lot of, or is being offered with a lot of industry support. So the Construction Management Consortium has existed since 2017. It's a coalition of several big construction companies such as Burns and Mack and several others within the state that have been advocates because they have the needs for these jobs. And we know that there will be hundreds of jobs within the state of Missouri and thousands of jobs in construction management over the years to come. The last thing that I want to say about this is that the construction management focus really opens the opportunity for academic pathways because it is complementary to the civil engineering degree that has more of a focus on math and design, whereas the construction management degree is less math and more practical application. So depending on what the students and employers are needed, there's going to be a much greater flexibility for our students to choose the pathway that, and the jobs that they wish to pursue. And so I'm very happy to take any questions that you have.
Are there any questions? Oh, this is an easy one. My experience in construction is more blueprints, but I guess they don't use blueprints anymore.
They are digital blueprints. It's all online now. It's all on the computer.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, since we don't have any other questions. So if there's no further discussion, may I have a motion and a second from the committee to recommend approval of both the new degree programs as presented in the materials?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Are there any abstentions? This motion carries. Mr. Chairman, as on the behalf of the committee, I move to recommend to the full board that the Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry at S&T and the Bachelor of Science in Construction Management at MU be approved.
All right, hearing these recommendations from Curator Singfield, may I have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Curator Singfield. I now invite Curator Rains, who's joined us remotely, to lead the Health Affairs Committee portion of the agenda.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Graves, and good morning to all. Today, the committee has one information item, a report from the Executive Vice Chancellor for Health Affairs and our Dean of the MU College of Medicine, Dr. Richard Barron. Dr. Barron, I'll turn it over to you for the report.
Thank you. Thank you, Curator Rains, and good morning, Chair Graves and members of the board. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So today I'll provide an update on the School of Medicine, Next Gen, and MU Healthcare. Next slide, please. So first, updates on the School of Medicine. So we received some exciting news about the Springfield campus expansion. The Liaison Committee on Medical Education, they reviewed our plans and they approved our expansion. So it's great news. Last fall, the University of Missouri Curators voted to approve the expansion at the medical schools campus in Springfield into a 4-year medical program. And this represents a strategic commitment to address rural physicians shortage. So once again, Curators, thank you very much. The School of Medicine Springfield program opened in 2016. And at that time, or since then, students currently spend their first 2 years of medical school on the Columbia campus, and then 28 of them spend their final 2 years in Springfield doing their clinical experience. What's going to change is that in July 2027, all 4 years of medical school will be taught on the Springfield campus. In addition, the university purchased a new building in Springfield last fall, and it will be home to the new expanded School of Medicine Springfield campus. We're planning a ribbon cutting at the new building on June 24th, and we look forward to welcoming you there at that time. It'll be at the same time of the Board of Curators meeting in Springfield. Next slide, please. So we recently celebrated Match Day on March 20th. So Chair Graves, you stole my thunder a little. So that's great that it was in your opening remarks. And as you mentioned, the occasion really is where medical students across the country open the envelope that contains their residency match, and they will learn where they're going to spend the next phase of their medical training. So I'm not going to go through the stats, which are on the slide, which you expertly went through, Chair Graves. But I will just say that we're proud that for the first time, 2 of our Springfield medical students matched into the Cox Health Family Medicine residency program in Springfield. So that's very exciting. As we continue to deepen our relationship with our partners in Springfield, we hope to see more of this in the future, particularly when Mercy Healthcare System opens their new residency programs, which also go online in the summer of 2027. So there's going to be many opportunities for our medical students who go to medical school in Springfield to stay in Springfield for their residency. Now I'm going to share a short video of exciting match day. So if you can run the video, please.
It feels like just so many short years ago that we were coming into this building, touring it for the first time. And like a day like this is kind of when it all comes to fruition, and there's just so much excitement. It's a dream come true.
It was really exciting, you know, everyone opens their envelopes, they scream, and then suddenly, you know, you're running to all of your friends to see where they're going and see, you know, did your friends get what they wanted?
It's really a culmination of the past 4 years and all the work that we've put in to get here. Getting to open that envelope and see that someone really wants you to come to their program feels really good.
A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of studying for hours on end. It's finally paid off, and I'm very happy. I am staying here at Mizzou for family medicine. So the family med program here is so great, and I am just so happy and overjoyed to stay here.
I'm grateful. I've met so many amazing people along the way. It's where I've met friendships that are going to last my entire life. I'm so grateful for all the people and all the love and support I've gotten while being here.
I could not have picked a better medical school. I love spending my 4 years here, and the faculty and staff here have been so encouraging throughout all my rotations and helping me become the best physician I can be. I've had so much fun being here, and there have been some hard, difficult days, but it's been the best med school.
Thank you very much. So if we can go to the next slide, please. There we go. To move on about updates on the School of Medicine, the University of Missouri and the School of Medicine and MU Healthcare have launched the first clinical trial using leading edge therapy manufactured on campus at the University of Missouri Research Reactor. So it's an achievement that showcases the real breadth of research capabilities across our campus, and that we can bring radiopharmaceuticals from development at MUR through testing and into human clinical trials. So in this trial, we're working with ABK Biomedical, and along with School of Medicine cancer researchers, we enrolled the first patient in human clinical trial at MU Healthcare's Elster Cancer Center. And this was using the I-90 microspheres. It's an experimental treatment that took place on February 9th at MU Healthcare in our interventional radiology unit, which is where this picture was taken. The I-90 microspheres are radio-opaque glass beads, and they're embedded with radioisotope Y90, and that's used to treat unresectable liver tumors. So MUR synthesizes the Y90, and it's the only domestic source for this radioisotope. MUR creates the microspheres in collaboration with ABK Biomedical, and ABK Biomedical recently announced that they're going to build a manufacturing plant near the airport for future drug development. Next slide, please. So now I'd like to give one update about Next Gen Precision Health, and I'm glad to talk about it because it has to do with an event we had in Rolla at Missouri S&T. So last month, the Next Gen Pathway Symposium, which has become an annual research event, was held in Rolla at Missouri S&T. And the symposium draws on path-breaking work across the university system, and it celebrates research collaborations that have potential to impact health. So there were 221 researchers in attendance representing Missouri S&T, Mizzou, UMSL, and UMKC. There were 121 poster presentations, most by students or young faculty, that really allowed deep conversations about their projects and gave our early career scientists professional development opportunity with other scientific colleagues across the University of Missouri system. Pictured here is the keynote, Dr. Sandra Magnus, as you know, a retired NASA astronaut and an alumna of Missouri S&T. She delivered the keynote address, and it was an inspiring address where she talked to students and faculty about her career story in biomedical engineering and how she utilized that to become a space explorer. The success of this symposium, the Pathway Symposium, I think continues to show the reach of Next Gen Precision Health Initiative across Missouri and into all 4 of our campuses. So thank you, Chancellor Degani, for hosting us. You were all tremendous hosts. And next year, the symposium will be at Mizzou, and in 2028, it will then be hosted at the University of Missouri St. Louis. Next slide, please. So now a couple updates on MU Healthcare, and we'll go to the following slide. Thank you. About the Thompson Center. So the new Thompson Center for Autism and Neurodevelopment, the new facility, passed an exciting milestone. On March 10th, it opened officially, and we saw our first patients in the building. So the new Thompson Center is on South Providence, and it has twice the capacity for patients compared to the previous facility on Keene Street. It includes new features like intensive outpatient behavioral program and just a vastly increased amount of space and improved space. So throughout the facility, there are sensory-friendly features, some pictured in these pictures here, such as they have an ecosystem theme. There's muted colors and a playground that promotes discovery and exploration when patients and families are visiting the center. And the grand official opening celebration will be on May 8th, and we look forward to seeing many of you at the grand opening. Next slide, please. So I want to highlight a powerful way in which we are increasing our access to care in rural Missouri. So we recently received a $125,000 grant from the state of Missouri that enhances Cap Region Medical Center's community practice family residency program. And it enhances the programs, particularly in our rural clinics in Versailles and in California, 2 clinics which I recently visited. So the program is designed to combat rural healthcare shortages, and it will allow doctors in training in rural communities to have their own book of patients supervised by their faculty mentors. And we know that this will encourage them to stay and practice in rural Missouri. So it's already had an immediate impact. Within just a few months, these young physicians have already seen 391 patient visits. That was as of last month. It's more by now. And when annualized, this is going to result in approximately 2,000 additional patient visits in these 2 rural communities by 2000 and 2026 alone. So this, the faculty a member who put in this grant is Dr. Jared James. He's an MU Healthcare Family Medicine physician at Cap Region Medical Center. We're so glad he submitted this grant to this new program funded by the state of Missouri, and it really is going to help meet the healthcare needs of these communities, and will address unmet demand and provide a pipeline for rural physicians as they go through their training. And then next slide, I will like to provide a financial update on MU Healthcare for the board. And my final slide is this financial slide. So while you're looking at the numbers here, I'll summarize it by saying through February, MU Healthcare recorded a net operating margin of just under $1 million, and it was on a budget of $57 million. So while it remains below target, the performance has definitely improved in a meaningful way over the last several months. And what this slide doesn't show is that we just got our March numbers in, And our March performance was very good, and we had an operating margin of $7 million in March. Therefore, we know we are going in the right direction. So as we have discussed at previous curator meetings, our original budget was made before we went out of network and Anthem, and being out of network definitely had an impact on our margin performance. We continue to see evidence of our commercial volume recovery. Our commercial mix, when we were out of network and Anthem, declined to 24%, but it's now back up to 29%. And our goal is to continue to increase our commercial mix so that we are again over 30%. Our healthcare team continues to implement tactics and improve our patient volume and decrease our hospital length of stay. In addition, we are also reviewing our cost structure. We continue to be cautiously optimistic, and we anticipate ending this year, this fiscal year, on a positive financial margin. And I do want to note that nationally, academic medical centers and many of our peers are seeing a median margin this year to date of 0.3%. That's most likely where we'll end up this fiscal year as well. So that concludes my report, Chair Graves and Board of Curators, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions?
Dr. Barron, thank you. Do we have questions for Dr. Barron or comments from the board?
One question, please. So, Dr. Barron,
Yes.
this is Curator Cruson. You made $1 million through the first, I think that's 8 months, and $7 million in March. What do you attribute that to?
It's an incredible amount of work. Thank you for asking that question, Curator Cruson. We've had all hands on deck for the last 6 months trying to increase our patient volume through the doors in our clinics and in our operating rooms. We've had teams working on decreasing our length of stay so we can admit more patients to the hospital when they need to be admitted. We have been doing cost cutting across MU Healthcare and the School of Medicine. At the end of the day, a lot of it is just increased volume and making sure patients can get in. While this slide was through February, through March, we are now $8 million of net profit margin, and we are, again, cautiously optimistic that through the next 3 months, we'll continue on that trend.
Thank you.
I have one, Dr. Barron. How
Sure.
is the competition in the medical field and in what your competitive geographics areas? How are you competing with it? Is it hurting you? Is it helping you? I don't know.
We're the biggest medical organization in the region, in both Columbia and in Jeff City, and I think we're doing very well comparatively. You know, our big competitor in town, as we all read, is going through some transition changes. Whether or not that's positively benefited us, we don't have data on that yet, but we are always open. Our doors are open to see patients at our competitors. If they're having trouble getting care, we're very happy to see them at MU Healthcare.
Other questions, comments for Dr. Barron? Dr. Barron, hearing none, thank you. I want to make a comment regarding the 2,000 patients in just 2 rural counties with this focus that we have in rural Missouri. We've got 114 counties in the state. 5 of them are fairly urban, and the rest are what I think you define as rural. I grew up in Dunklin County. I just think it's great to see the work. It's both important for quality of life as well as economic development. So hats off to the work that you're doing there. And thanks also for the rebound in the financials and the continued focus there. With that, Chair Graves, if there's nothing else, we'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you, Curator Raines. I'm now going to turn it over to Michael Williams for the Audit, Compliance, and Ethics Committee.
Thank you. Today, the Audit, Compliance, and Ethics Committee has one information item. The quarterly report for system-wide ethics, compliance, and audit services is in the written materials. This quarterly report reflects steady progress across ethics, compliance, and audit services in executing its fiscal year 2026 plan. The internal audit, investigative, and compliance activities remain on track with continued focus on follow-up and implementation of management action plans, most of which are completed or progressing as scheduled. The report also includes the annual Youth Protection Program update, which demonstrates strong and stable compliance across all campuses and provides continued assurance that the core, next page, safeguards for minors participating in university-affiliated programs remain effective. Jim Grimes is here and is available for any questions the committee may have. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? Or the rest of the board? If there's no further discussion, that ends the report, and I turn it back over to you, Chair Graves.
All right, at this time, I'd like to open the floor for any additional items for the good and welfare of the board. Okay, hearing no further comments, we've reached our last action item for today. May I have a motion and a second to move into executive session?
So moved.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Valerie, please call the roll.
Curator Blitz?
Yes.
Curator Fry?
Yes?
Curator Graves?
Yes.
Curator Cruzen?
Yes.
Curator Lehman? Oh, sorry, he stepped out. Curator Lukemeyer?
Aye.
Curator Rains?
Yes.
Curator Sinkfield?
Yes.
Curator Williams?
Yes.
Give all votes in favor.
All right, with the motion complete, the board will now move into executive session. Prior to the executive session, we'll have a press conference in the Turner Carver Room. Thank you very much.